Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
Hey there, and welcome back to the Dr. Teresa Nicasio Show. This is a place of inspiration, education, and hope for a more compassionate and sustainable world. I offer this show to you freely. However, your support and donations really matter. To make a donation or to learn more about advertising and sponsorship opportunities, let me know. You can email me at teresa@teresanicasio.com or send me a message through my website, which is teresanicasio.com. And again, it's Teresa with an H, Nicasio with an N like Nancy, one C and two S's. So TheresaNicasio.com. So be sure to join us next week when Urban Garden Revolutionary Jane Gruber is going to be returning to the show. So Jane's got an amazing story. She grew up in the Czech Republic, and she lived there through the Chernobyl disaster. So she knows what it's like to have all of your food poisoned. And so her life has taken some interesting turns. She's a speech and language therapist. She did that for like 17 years, is a mom, and is now really passionate and focusing her energy on her parenting, but also around food safety and food security issues and so forth. She's going to be amazing on this show. You're going to love hearing more about some of the knowledge that she has and empowering messages, things that you can do. Then on February 27th, we're going to be finishing off the month with the leading expert on celiac disease and non-celiac gluten sensitivity in the world. I'm so excited. Renowned pediatric gastroenterologist Dr. Alessio Fasano is going to be joining us, and he's going to talk about gluten, immunity, and the gut. There's so many myths and misconceptions about gluten. Everybody's all confused. Is it good for you? Is it bad for you? Is it only for people with celiac disease? He's going to be answering these kind of questions, and you can even send me questions if you'd like, if you have any special questions you want him to answer. But you can also phone in during the show. You can't actually speak to us, but you can let the producer know your question, and that's also the case for today. If you have any questions today, you can call toll-free at 800-555-5453. That's if you're in the U.S., you can use that number. But if you're out of the U.S., you can still phone in at 310-371-5444. And those numbers are on my teresanicasio.com website under the radio show tab. So it's easy peasy to find if you want that. But shifting to today, in addition, last week we were talking about this is Eating Disorders Awareness Month, but it's also Heart Month. So for today's show, we're going to be celebrating the holiday of the heart. We're going to be talking Valentine's Day. We're talking love. And with us today, I'm super excited to be introducing to you gourmet plant food innovator and chef James Sant from Living Light Culinary Institute. And he's going to be enticing us with slow food. It's a big movement, and it's a whole philosophy. And he's going to be teaching us the art of finding love in the kitchen. And I was telling James before the show that we're totally outing ourselves as 60s children with this kind of a title, Finding Love. Anyway, a little bit about James. As a lifelong professional artist, James has worked in just about every medium, including clay art, sculpting, painting, textile art, set design, art administration, film documentary, and photography. A serious industrial injury led him to discover the power of healing through a diet based on living foods. James has taken his lifelong passion for plant-based eating and merged it with his artistic talents, becoming a certified gourmet raw food chef, a raw food pastry chef. He's an amazing food stylist. He's just amazing. But he's also a yoga instructor, and he's one of the lead instructors at the, as I mentioned, Living Light Culinary Arts Institute. And that's in Fort Bragg, California. And he also was mentioning to me that he just recently completed a cutting-edge program called the Plantition Project, or the Plantition Culinary RX Project, through the Ruby Cooking School. And I think Chad Sarno started that, and hopefully he'll share with us a little bit about that as well today. So, James, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you here.
Yes, indeed. I'm so happy to be here. It's great to hear your voice, Teresa. Always love to do things with you, and I love the path you're taking in vegan food. It's just been spectacular
thank you so much.
To watch you over the last
And for those of you listening, you may not know, but James was my teacher when I went to culinary school. My daughter Alex and I, we were kind of partners in crime, and James just was such an inspiring teacher.
It was so fun. You were two of my favorite students. And went on to do fantastic
you say all your students, James. You have to, because you love everyone. So, James, James is someone who has so many talents, and we'll be talking about some of those today. I've asked him to. I want to have him come back after today. So just so you know, we're not going to get all of James today, but we thought we would start with his passion and where this has all come from around his relationship with food. And I know maybe we could start there, James, about how you I want to say stumbled upon. It's probably not that simple, but how you stumbled upon this life journey that you're on with your love of food.
Okay. Well, I started in college, actually, in the early 80s. My first wife, Denise, was a vegetarian, which was something very new to me. Growing up in Alaska and being a hunting and fishing, meat and potatoes kind of family, I thought, can I do this?
Right, that was pretty rebellious of her, huh?
Really wanted to be in the relationship, was fully in love, and I thought, okay, if I'm going to do this, we're not just going to eat salad, because that's all she was pretty much doing at that time. And ended up just buying every book out there, Moosewood Cookbook and Laurel's Kitchen and all the old standards that were great that came out of the 70s, and dove into finding a creative way to be a vegetarian. And so I've been doing vegetarian for many, many years and having a lot of fun with it, And post-college, we actually went through macrobiotic training, and we're pretty strictly macrobiotic for about 3 years, which was fascinating also. It has a whole healing modality to itself, which taught me so much about the subtle simplicity of Zen food in flavor balancing and the energies and all of the different toxins that can be in food and stuff. So the journey has been going on for a long time. And then in the 90s, I got really into fermentation. Really went down the tunnel on fermenting, making home-brewed beers or kombuchas and kefirs and just all of the different fermentation stuff, kimchis, krauts, permeated my life. And Thai cooking. Started taking courses on Thai cooking. I love Thai food. The fresh, bright flavors in Thai food, and even the way they serve it, which is more akin to how we do raw soups, putting the little mise en place bowls out of sprouts and basil and different things that you add in your soup at the last minute and eat it, which is a much more fresh, healthy way to experience these vegetables in a soup. So I've always been passionate about food. What drew me into raw happened more recently to heal from an industrial accident, and my understanding of pH balance. And this exactly the kind of thing the Plantition program that you talked about that I just took the Culinary RX class in is touting too, and teaching doctors to really talk to people about the power of plant food to heal in creating a perfect pH balance in the body, which can eliminate inflammation and eliminate the precursors to diabetes and help with healing cancer and so many important things. And in my case, it did work. It changed my life. I'm not going to go through all the details of it because it was a pretty intense accident, but I was pretty much paralyzed on my right side. My neck had collapsed down on my 5, 6, and 7 vertebrae, and I was looking at some serious operations, and they wanted me on all kinds of drugs. And I chose to take a different path. I chose to use...
And what year was that, James?
That's 6 years ago now. And I did heal myself spectacularly and avoided most of the drugs and healed from the surgery very quickly. But in the process of finding plant food and going vegan, because I figured out that meat and dairy was very acidic, and I needed to get that pH balance if I wanted to heal fast, and I wanted my body back. And so I stepped into the realm of vegan raw cuisine. And like I do in all my adventures with food, I thought, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm diving in, because I've always seen food as a creative adventure. And so, and it was a fun adventure and continues to be. And the changes that happened in me physically, in every regard, were so palpable, I wanted to shout it from the rooftops. It's like, yeah, I healed from the accident, but my eyes are more clear, I have more energy, I'm more bright, I feel like I'm, I turn 54 next week, and I feel like I'm going on 24 in the energy level that I have, seriously. And my body went back to the same shape it was and has better muscle mass than I've had in years. And I'm on plant-based and not even taking in animal protein. And why is that? And wanting to learn what is going on here, because it was just so many spectacular things as a side benefit in my healing journey that I wanted to embrace and teach people. And so I set it in motion to go become trained as an instructor in raw vegan cuisine, and went to Living Light about 5 years ago and was hired on as an instructor right after going through, because they could see my passion.
Right, and I think that we were in the first class. I mean, it was the first time you were actually on. Was that the first time you were actually on?
You were, I think, the first time that I co-taught with Jenny Kornbleet.
Okay. So the time it was the second that we were the second little group that came through.
Yeah.
I think right after you, because you were kind of a newbie, but boy, were you sure you were just like a shining star, and and so those of you listening, you probably hear the enthusiasm and the energy that James has, and the sparkle in his eye, and it's really a pretty awesome thing, and some of the creativity you've had, James. And, where your artistic qualities come through, and when we're doing flavor balancing and trying to create something new, inventions. I think that's something that you really brought a spirit of that. Between you and Vinette, Vinette Thompson, who is just like a genius. You guys were like a dangerous duo. And you still are.
So fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. So Vinette still is one of the teachers. She teaches. Which parts does she come in and help teach?
The gourmet, which we only do twice a year. We do the associate chef and instructor many times, many sessions throughout the year, and then in the spring and in the late fall we do gourmet twice a year.
Okay, right. So Vinette does the gourmet, and she's brilliant too. And then, like I said, they work together, and so Vinette is not strictly a plant-based raw food chef, but what she is she's a food genius, and she brings all of her wisdom and then transforms it, and is one of the best raw food recipe developers probably in the world.
Yeah, I definitely would agree on that. She's genius at bringing flavor.
So, when you shifted to this plant-based lifestyle, James, a lot of people say that when you live plant-based, it's especially organic, that it's too expensive. You want to speak a little bit about cost and some of your awesome creative ways of
when I'm working with a client and consulting with someone on becoming plant-based and having a healthier lifestyle, what I love to do is to go into their kitchen on the first interview that I do with them, and I tell them ahead of time, all counters blank, leave them nothing on the counters because we're going to fill them, and I open the cupboards and we go through, and I love this process because, number one, I get to see what they like to eat. And I tell them, don't do anything different to your kitchen. I'm going to come and we're going to go through this, and I pull out everything, all the boxed crackers, the commercial pasta mixes, whatever it is, you name it, and line the counters with them. And then we go through and talk about why some of these things that are irradiated or have fillers or preservatives and things are not healthy, and the science behind it, why it is more acidic to your body versus a true plant-based version of this. And as we do that, we put together a menu of what I'm going to teach them to replace, because now I know what their proclivities are in food and what they want to know, you know, and what's going to really strike home with them. But even more so, I tell them, look at your receipts from your grocery shopping and look at all this stuff we have on the counters here. And think really about how expensive processed food is, because it is expensive. We spend a lot of money on chips and cereals and, you know, pre-made
food that doesn't even have much nutritive value, a lot of it.
Yeah, and it when you really think about making the commitment to move away from processed foods, which are what is keeping a majority of our public in a state of acidosis, because it's very acidic once it's all processed and cooked, and it's coming in, and we are acidic by nature. Just moving your muscles, you create acids in your body. It's just a part of being human. But we're alkaline by design. We need alkaline fuel coming in to right the ship and get that pH balance. So now I'm going to show them how, with fresh produce, they can make dehydrated crackers, or make spiralized pasta, or make fresh marinara sauce that is not cooked, that is alkaline coming into the body, and will be that alkaline fuel source they need. But even more so, they're going to see when they look at that receipt and all that processed food in the kitchen, this doesn't have to be more expensive. I find it's not for me. It is just as, probably about equal, by just buying produce and making and being very creative. It becomes really fun, you know, to make. If you just need a good blender, a dehydrator, and a good food processor, and you're set, you know, and a good chef knife.
It really is. It's I think that it's a misconception that it's more expensive, and I think that you know, when we do get creative, and also I like to get creative about things that, you know, might be considered pretty crazy. But like, for example, I love to use parts of food that otherwise we would throw away. And, you know, most recently I've you know, because, you know, using like the broccoli stalk, using the stems from the cilantro and the parsley that otherwise we might just, you know, throw in the compost. And even recently, you know, there's that big piece at the bottom of cauliflower, right, that has the leaves on it. And I've always, you know, put that in the compost. I'm like, you know, we could use this like in soup and stir fries.
And you know that that core in the cauliflower and that stem in the broccoli have the most concentrated enzymes in them that are so good for your gut health. So we should be finding ways to use them, and they're sweet. And
well, we talk about the stem, the core, and that upper part of the stem of what is it? Pineapple has the most bromelain, that ultra anti-inflammatory, beautiful nutrient as well.
And people throw that out typically. I don't. If anything, I'll just chew on it and work all the juice out of it, and then just spit out the fibrous material. You know, and throw that in the compost or the trash, but get those enzymes out of it.
Get those enzymes for sure.
Fantastically
exactly. So there's a lot of, you know, so some interesting. There's I think the actual ingredients, the regular ingredients themselves, don't necessarily need to be more expensive, but you know, but then we can also find other ways where we can use those parts that we otherwise
and especially if you get into juicing,
might be throwing out.
Yes. Because if you're actively juicing, which is a really healthy thing to do too, all these things that you're talking about, many of the stems on parsley, on cilantro, all these things are great in juice. So there's no
and the
part
stems
of it
have the most juice in them too, so that you get the most bang out of your buck with that as well.
Right.
Yep. So you know, I think that you know, something I'd like to spend more time on when we go into the next segment is I want to hear more about this RX program, but also this, you know, your passion and your love for the food comes through. But I'm wondering if we might be able to also just talk a little bit more, just briefly, when we get back, James, talking a little bit about fermentation, because you are kind of the king of fermentation.
When
I think about you, I
talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that it's worthy of an entire.
Sure it is.
An entire additional program probably at some point, but
right.
But we can be doing that. And the other thing is if we can, after the break, we can start with talking a little bit about the slow food philosophy and the slow food movement, and where some of the benefits of that. And I think it's a really exciting direction that we're heading around the slow food. Yeah. So does that sound like a good plan when we come back?
Perfect.
All right, folks. So we need to take a short break and get some words from our sponsors. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Being inspired by a speaker while learning everyday positive information that you can use to help your life is exactly what Dr. Teresa Nicasio does when she speaks in front of your group. From healthcare professionals to special needs parenting and everything in between, Dr. Teresa Nicasio can customize topics for your group on everything from health to psychology. To book Dr. Teresa Nicasio as a speaker for your group, visit yumfoodforliving.com or call 604-445-6463. That's 604-445-6463.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now this same technology is available to you. They have the best Earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. EarthChannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now. So come to EarthChannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call earthchannel.com at 1-800-849-8978. That's 1-800-849-8978.
Yumfoodforliving.com is the place to get easy, allergy-free recipes, all free of sugar, gluten, and dairy. But that's not all you'll get when you visit yumfoodforliving.com. You'll get resources for all kinds of things like wellness articles, videos, podcasts, a blog, all to help you create easy, healthy living. There's even a 50-page downloadable book introducing you to the philosophy of yum. Don't wait. Visit yumfoodforliving.com. Yumfoodforliving.com. That's yumfoodforliving.com.
If you like to spend your television viewing time learning about some of the things that you may have missed in history class, or if history was your favorite subject, then you should check out the link to the History Channel on the HealthyLife.net advertiser page. Order DVD sets by series or by subject matter right from our homepage while you still enjoy your favorite HealthyLife.net show.
You're listening to HealthyLife.net, the radio network that brings positive talk with positive change to make your world a little better.
Welcome back to the Dr. Teresa Nicasio Show. For those of you who are just joining us, we have been talking with certified gourmet raw food chef James Sant, talking about finding love in the kitchen. And I'm sorry, I'm just laughing and just chatting with James during the break. He's so much fun. Anyway, but just going back to this whole idea of Valentine's and this month of love with that, and I'm wondering, James, do you have any special relationship? What's any special relationship in your life right now?
Well, actually, as it pertains to what we're talking about today, what I would say is that's myself. And on the not wanting to sound narcissistic about it, but it really is true that if you love and honor yourself first, everything else flows from that. And yes. I really do at my core believe that. And I got that late in my 40s when in my own personal journey, because I've been an empathic type person that would take care of everyone around me first. But then your kids go off to college and all these different things, and you're left with yourself, and it's like, wow, I need to love me now, you know, and find myself.
For sure.
And I think you can do that even more so when you do slow down into an appreciation of plant food and the kitchen. It can be such a beautiful journey in slowing down, moving away from that fast food mentality, and making the kitchen a sanctuary. I don't have the news turned on, the television, anything like that. Create great music. You can have a little altar if you want with a Buddha or whatever your religious leaning is in your kitchen, to just make it a place where you let go of all stress and get in touch with mindfulness and enjoy slicing your vegetables. Look at the produce and hold it and embed it with your beautiful energy and appreciate each other and make your food slow and enjoyably, you know, and the time that you would have been simmering and cooking.
Are you there? I think we just lost our guest for a moment in the midst of all this pleasure and mindfulness. I'm sure he'll be phoning back in a moment. But I'm just going to point out some of the things that he's talking about. It's very congruent. We had Karen Mayo on our show, I guess that was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and she was talking about mindful eating, and also actually Haley Linda was talking about mindful decadence, and that idea of slowing down. And the other thing Karen was also talking about that James has been speaking about today is about the importance of pH in our food. And so it's anyway, it's really wonderful, as you can hear from James's voice and such, this idea about love and self-love. And when we feed ourselves, when we are bringing this food. James is back. Hello, James. We lost you for a minute.
I don't know what happened.
You got so into the experience of non-technology that technology turned off. Are you there still? Are you there? So, yeah, I think this is the universe telling him that technology, his relationship with technology, that it's... that we do need technology, obviously, for the show. But when we are cooking, it is amazing what we can do, what we can create with literally, if we have a knife and a breadboard. They talk about raw food. A lot of people say, I can't do raw food because I don't have a dehydrator. I don't have, I don't have a food processor. I don't have a blender. But actually, there's so much we can do, and they talk about this when I went into chef school, and we started out on talking about knife skills, that if you literally just have a knife, actually, I'll say a knife, spoon, and a fork, and a breadboard, you can make some of the most amazing raw food creations that are, you could even imagine. And this is, since I've been on this show now, just starting since November. I started taping in November, and we started airing in December. This is actually the first time I've had I've felt so blessed. We haven't had any of these kind of technical difficulties, but they are a part of reality. Anyway, so James will be back when he will be back. But the idea here of being able to use, create beautiful food that nourishes your body, because when we do love ourselves, one of the things that's important, or getting love from anywhere, is about nourishing and nurturing our soul and nurturing our body. And food is a way that we actually get our nourishment. And so when we can nurture ourselves with that food, it's a really beautiful thing. But I'd like to speak, while James isn't here, I can piggyback a little bit on last week's guest when we had Christine Blanchette on. And Christine was talking about her journey with anorexia, because in that situation, when we're looking at the inability to nourish oneself, the inability to honor oneself so much that we refuse the nurturance, the nourishment that food offers, it can be really hard. And so her story, excuse me, of discovering her love of running or her desire to run, and how that motivated her to finally love herself enough to give her body the nourishment that it needed so that she would be able to run and to develop this other part of her life come up. And it was that, she called it, that was her carrot that helped her to hang in there and move forward with her life. So when you think about your life and you think about loving your life and loving yourself, it's a great opportunity to even ask, what are the gifts that your body is offering you? What are the pleasures that you're able to enjoy because you have this body? And so the idea that when we try to change, when we make the decision to change how we're going to eat, and in James' case, he had that industrial injury he wanted to heal. When we have that sense of what it is we want to move towards, so we want to move towards health or running or being able to, see our kids and grandkids grow up, that motivation of what we want to move towards is way more powerful than the motivation that comes out of fear or the desire not to be some way, the desire to not be overweight, the desire not to be sick. So that desire to be healthy and vibrant and joyful is a much more beautiful and actually sustainable and effective way to have success when you make lifestyle changes. So anyway, hopefully we're going to have James back after the break. We need to take another moment to hear some words from our sponsors. So don't go away. I'll be right back. If not we, then at least I'll be right back. So talk to you soon.
There's a book that makes it so easy to embrace a healthy, gluten-free lifestyle, even kids will like it. Filled with heartwarming stories, food as medicine health tips, easy allergy-free recipes, and creative culinary inventions, the award-winning book Yum by Dr. Teresa Nicasio is your source for all of this and more. So make gluten-free living easy, tasty, and fun. Get Yum, plant-based recipes for a gluten-free diet at Amazon.com or visit yumfoodforliving.com. That's yumfoodforliving.com.
What does HealthyLife.net and Amazon.com have in common? Well, they're both available on the Internet. They both give great value. But most important, most of our positive program hosts and guests are accomplished authors, and their books are available from, you got it, Amazon.com. Now, it even gets better than that, because when you're listening on air to a HealthyLife.net host or guest, you can go directly to Amazon.com, and you can order your book while you're still listening to your favorite HealthyLife.net program. So when you hear an author you like, go to the homepage of HealthyLife.net and click on Amazon.com.
When you have a food allergy or dietary limitation, Dr. Teresa Nicasio knows it's hard to give up the foods you love, so she decided to put on her chef hat and give you affordable, personalized culinary consultations that will light up your taste buds. You'll explore substitute ingredients so you can enjoy your favorite foods again. She'll even help you make food preparation easy and guide you on your path to healthy living. And to get started, all you have to do is call 604-445-6463. That's 604-445-6463.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
YumFoodForLiving.com is the place to get easy, allergy-free recipes, all free of sugar, gluten, and dairy. But that's not all you'll get when you visit YumFoodForLiving.com. You'll get resources for all kinds of things like wellness articles, videos, podcasts, a blog, all to help you create easy, healthy living. There's even a 50-page downloadable book introducing you to the philosophy of Yum. Don't wait. Visit YumFoodForLiving.com. YumFoodForLiving.com. That's YumFoodForLiving.com.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
All right, folks, we're back, and James is on the line. Cross our fingers. He's trying to hold his breath. We were just laughing about how the technology cut out right then, and it reminds me of when I studied energy healing, integrative energy healing. We learned about chakra 5, which is the chakra for communication, and it's also kind of where we put the food in, right? It's our throat chakra, and so there was a little bit of a glitch in our chakra 5 relationship with technology. So before we had the chakra 5 moment, James, you started talking about slowing life down and just being quiet and mindful in the kitchen. Why don't we start there?
Yeah, it's just a beautiful experience. I really do believe in making the kitchen a sanctuary of joy. We put the energy we put into our food is what we're serving to those we love and ourselves, and I am reminded of the studies they did in Japan where they froze the water crystals with different intentions or music put at them, and how beautiful the mandalas are in the water when they give it great intention. Mm-hmm. And then I think about the living foods I'm working with, much of which are like 80% water, these high water content vegetables and fruits. And I think, wow, I want beautiful structures, beautiful mandalas flowing through my food. So I want to put on beautiful music, slow down, not be yelling at the kids about homework or chores that didn't get done, or anything that, or listening to the drastic news, of what has gone on around the world. That's the time to turn all that off and connect and become mindful with the food. And then your food's even going to be all that much more healthy and abundant for you, and help you to love yourself, because you're going to find better health, So love yourself first, and everything else follows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and some of you who are listening may be thinking, well, fine, James, that all sounds fine and dandy, but we do have kids and we do have busy lives, or work, or we don't have kids, but we have really busy lives. How in the world can we make this doable?
Yeah, I agree.
When we live in such a busy world and with such busy lives. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Yes, I absolutely do, and my kids would tell you this for sure. Get those kids an apron and get them up to the counter. Get them in the process. When you make all the food for your children and just plop it in front of them, you get this reaction of, what's this? But when you get them to the counter, get a stool they can get up on and reach and help, and get them into the decision of which colorful vegetables or fruits are going to go into it, and helping them become part of the process. Not only does that bring more connection for the family and joy into the kitchen, but they end up eating things they never would have tried because they made the decision to put that vegetable on the pizza or whatever you're making, and it brings them into the process. So it's just a commitment from the entire family that this isn't the chaotic time. We're going in food-making time now. And it's a time to connect. I'm not Mormon anymore, but I was raised LDS when I was younger, and they have a great tradition in that church that I do love, and that's family home evening, where people sit down and actually talk and connect, turn off all the cell phones, turn off everything, make food together, play games together. And I always did hold on to that one thing from my LDS background, It's beautiful, and families don't connect enough anymore, and bring that into the kitchen too. And
isn't that perfect? Up here in Canada, it's actually it's a holiday. It's a stat holiday. It's called Family Day. Today is.
I love it.
Isn't that great? And isn't that great that it's actually the day before Valentine's Day? I mean, that's kind of a cool thing. I'm not sure if that happens every year, but this year
beautiful.
It certainly is.
I love that.
Isn't it? Isn't that great? And then we ease right into the Valentines, and and I think that I found that with the food preparation itself in the kitchen, there's that. But I've actually found that it can even start prior that or on the kitchen windowsill when you get kids involved in growing some plants, which we'll be talking more about some of that with Jane next week, but where you get kids where you actually get a seed or a little baby plant and with the kids and then they suddenly get invested in where this food comes from. It doesn't just magically appear.
Yeah, I totally agree. And gardening can be such a big fun part of a plant-based diet, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And if people aren't gardening, they want to get into gardening more. The more they understand that the shorter trip that food takes from the ground to your plate, the more optimized nutrition you get from it. That's why you want to grow your own food first. If not that, go to your local farmer first, always, before the big superstores that are shipping it in from Chile or Mexico or wherever. As local as you can get it, the better, and get the kids involved in gardening, even if it's an herb garden in the window, so they get that connection to the gifts from Mother Earth, you know, that feed us.
Yeah, so, especially in our society now, we're so disconnected from the earth, from the planet, and it's that awareness and that appreciation of where things come from. I still remember when Alex she was young, and together we went out and calendula seeds, if you've ever seen them, they're cute little spirally, they're so fun, and they're big, and so they're perfect for, you know, kids. Those and like pea seeds are really fun to plant, and you know, we planted those, and then we watched them grow, and we watered them, and we weeded around them, and then you've got these flowers, which then you can even put on salads and use in a culinary, and they're full of healthy, like major, you know, talk about benefits, health benefits. And then it went through, and then eventually we deadhead and all that, and then at the end when they went to seed, and then we went to collect the seeds, then, and this is like the whole season, and at the end she goes, "Oh, I get it. This is where the seeds come from that we planted before," right?
Circle of life. There you go.
You talk about it, that we're going to be planting this, and this is what's going to be coming out of it. But it doesn't really kind of click in until it's you know literally done. And you know, cooking, you have a pizza, which you know it's like through the raw food. People don't realize you can actually make amazing pizzas with raw ingredients. I thought that was crazy when I heard that before. But you can make amazing pizzas, and even with delicious pizza crusts that the raw foodies were able to do. I mean, we don't have a lot of time, but can you describe a little bit, because you come from like a bread making family too, right?
I do, and I still do toy around in bread making. I'm not 100% raw. I'm about 80% raw. And one of the joys I will do every now and then is to make ancient sprouted grain bread that I also ferment. So it's sprouted, then dehydrated, then I grind my own flour, and then I ferment it, and then I make bread from it. And it has a very different profile as far as gluten goes. If you're using true ancient kamut, einkorn, old grains that they're not frankenwheat. These high-starch, high-gluten.
Yes, but one of the things that I loved when I was in culinary school that just opened my eyes to the possibilities with regard to the raw is where, you know, using zucchini, where you basically rice zucchini up into small pieces, and you use flax meal, and when you do that and a few other ingredients that with just raw ingredients, and you put those together, and then you make a crust. You make like a pizza crust. Right.
My favorite pizza crust, I also add sprouted buckwheat in. And which
sprouted
is
buckwheat?
Totally gluten-free. Yeah,
yes, totally.
Buckwheat and sprouted in there, and blend that in, and it makes a wonderful pizza crust, a raw pizza crust. It's really hearty,
so
delicious.
By dehydrating it, you wouldn't even know that it was raw food. You would think it was cooked. Totally. But the thing that's brilliant that these raw foodies do that I just think is just amazing is what happens is when the zucchini dehydrates, it creates the air pockets. And that's what gives it the bread consistency, because you know, zucchini is mostly water. Right. And so this is the kind of thing that the raw foodies are doing, which are really great. So real quick, I know we're going to be going to a break soon. But can you just mention briefly about Living Light, because some of the listeners who are watching might be interested, because you're going through a bit of a transition where it's, as you mentioned, most of us who eat mostly raw food, people are called raw foodies, doesn't mean that they eat 100% raw. That's really important to know.
Right.
And so I think that isn't Living Light kind of moving more in the direction of incorporating a little bit more of mostly raw, but a little bit of cooked as well?
Yeah, what we're doing is broadening the umbrella of what we offer. We are still going to have our raw vegan chef certification core program. We'll never let go of that, but we want to bring in more other healthy vegan workshops and classes, especially. And so we're moving towards that and opening up the umbrella even bigger to incorporate some of the healthy ways, very healthy ways, to include vegan cooked stew. Because there's a lot of unhealthy vegan food out there also. But really focusing on how to honor the life force in food, but slightly cooking some. There's cruciferous vegetables, as you're aware, broccoli and kales and stuff that slightly steamed actually activate more of the antioxidants and things that are helpful in fighting cancer. So you don't need to always be raw, and it's starting to open up more to that. Our curriculum will, and incorporating that. So it's very exciting.
That's great.
I'm very, very happy that we're going that direction, and it's going to bring even more people in. As you know, we get them from all over the world for our program.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. So, and I'm trying to remember now the website. What's the website for Living Light?
It's rawfoodchef.com.
rawfoodchef.com. So again, I'll be having that on James's profile. I'm not sure if I have it on there yet. I may have to add that up, but I might have it on there. But we do need to go for another break, and we are going to be. James has agreed to stay with us as long as your technology stays intact. With us for the Because You Asked segment. So don't go away. We're going to be right back answering your questions after the break.
Being inspired by a speaker while learning everyday positive information that you can use to help your life is exactly what Dr. Teresa Nicasio does when she speaks in front of your group. From healthcare professionals to special needs parenting and everything in between, Dr. Teresa Nicasio can customize topics for your group on everything from health to psychology. To book Dr. Teresa Nicasio as a speaker for your group, visit yumfoodforliving.com or call 604-445-6463. That's 604-445-6463.
If you're like the 8 out of 10 women that say finding jeans that fit is a problem, well, your problem is solved. Lee Jeans has done extensive research, and they have jeans that fit. There's even an online Lee Fit Finder so you can find the right fit for you. Imagine jeans that instantly slim you with a custom fit and no gap waistband. And guys, kids, Lee has jeans for you too. Click through to Lee's Jeans on the HealthyLife.net advertiser page and get what fits.
When you have a food allergy or dietary limitation, Dr. Teresa Nicasio knows it's hard to give up the foods you love, so she decided to put on her chef hat and give you affordable, personalized culinary consultations that will light up your taste buds. You'll explore substitute ingredients so you can enjoy your favorite foods again. She'll even help you make food preparation easy and guide you on your path to healthy living. And to get started, all you have to do is call 604-445-6463. That's 604-445-6463. There's a book that makes it so easy to embrace a healthy, gluten-free lifestyle, even kids will like it. Filled with heartwarming stories, food as medicine health tips, easy allergy-free recipes, and creative culinary inventions, the award-winning book Yum by Dr. Teresa Nicasio is your source for all of this and more. So make gluten-free living easy, tasty, and fun. Get Yum, plant-based recipes for a gluten-free diet at Amazon.com. Or visit yumfoodforliving.com. That's yumfoodforliving.com.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Dr. Teresa Nicasio Show, where we celebrate life, love, and kindness, while also acknowledging the challenges that are an inherent part of living on this planet. So now is the part of the show for your questions to be answered, whether they're about psychology, health, parenting, cooking, pets, relationships, gardening, whatever. Getting some great questions coming in. To send your questions in, just click on the Ask Teresa tab on my website, teresanicasio.com, or you can also email your questions directly to me at teresanicasio.com. As I mentioned before the break, James has joined us for this question, and he is going to be so perfect. You have no idea how perfect he is for this question. So here's a question. Dear Teresa, I've been a vegetarian for the past 13 years, but last year I decided to go vegan. The only problem is that I love cheese. So, as much as I don't want to eat it for ethical reasons, I'm having a tough time. None of the vegan cheeses I've tried taste like real cheese. I'm hoping you can help. Where I live, there aren't many vegan options. Is there anywhere I can find good vegan cheese, even if I have to order it online? And this is from Cheese Addict in Nova Scotia.
Okay.
So, James, I want to open the line to you on this one.
And this one is exploding right now in the vegan world, because what has happened is we've gotten some of the cultures that before were only casein-based and were, so they had cow and, they were dairy-based cultures, are now being recreated in plant-based form, and it's leading us into aged vegan cheeses, which opens a whole huge realm. We can now grow the skin on the outside of a brie with a cashew-based brie. We can do blue cheeses. We can go into all of these other aged cheeses, which before vegan cheese has been actually pretty good, but it just has involved putting like a probiotic in, like a acidophilus, and making an overnight kind of fermented cheese, which is great too, but not quite as developed in flavor as aged cheeses get. And Teresa, I'm telling you, the brie experiments I'm doing right now will knock your socks off. People do not know that it is not vegan. When I give it to them, they
Talk
are
to us more about this.
mind-blown.
So you're making a vegan brie.
Right.
You're making it because you're Mr. Fermentation.
Yeah. It's
great.
very exciting. It's so delicious, and it really when I found the culture to grow the skin on it, just in that classic that culture that grows the skin on brie, I figured out that's what imparts the flavor, the brie flavor, into brie that you would buy, classic dairy brie, and it does the same for the vegan brie. It's amazing.
Oh my God, that's amazing!
It's a game changer.
And
I
great.
have I have wild mushroom versions of it. I have peppercorn crusted. I've got smoked salt versions. All kinds of fantastic versions.
Okay. Well, is this going to help our cheese addict in Nova Scotia?
Well,
are we going to be able to get this? Are we going to be able to get your cheeses somehow, some way? If not now,
I'm working
in the future?
on that. I'm definitely going to be looking at creating a line and having some cheeses come out. So that will be coming from me. They can follow a Plant Food Chef on Facebook and keep up with my journey, and I will let them know for sure. There are a few other artisanal cheese companies doing similar stuff, not quite exactly like I'm doing, which is fine,
right.
But there's some really good stuff just coming out on the market from Kite Hill.
What's the name of the company?
Kite Hill, and they're over on the East Coast of the United States. I think Kitehil. Kice.
Oh, why don't you send me the link and I'll add it to the
and then
my
Miyoko's
website.
Cheeses from the Bay Area, and she's a good friend of Sherry Soria that started Living Light, and she's one of the troubadours in the vegan cheese movement. She's really doing some fantastic stuff, and she's in Whole Foods and different big markets already, so you probably can find her stuff. And even her company, there's so much exploding in vegan cheese.
What's her company called?
It's just Miyoko's Cheeses.
Okay.
So, and her book is one of the books. I'm going to send you a list of great books, and one of them is Artisanal Vegan Cheese Making by Miyoko. And so that will be on your page for me on your website.
On your page, right? Okay, on my website.
Yeah.
Good.
And I love that book. It will teach you a lot, and that book I would recommend for this person calling in about vegan cheese making.
Yeah, because if they can make it themselves, especially if they don't have a lot of vegan alternatives, because probably if you buy a vegan cheese, it needs to be either refrigerated or frozen. So sometimes that can be a bit of a challenge. The shipping can be a bit of a bugger, and especially if it's coming from the U.S. And so forth. Yeah.
Right. There are companies that do ship them in refrigerated packs, though. The ones out of New York City, some of the artisanal vegan cheese companies will ship everywhere. They FedEx it, and they put cold packs in with it so that it will make it safely.
Yeah, you can do that. The other one, dear cheese addict, is She's Cheese is a company that is in Scotland, and they have created some really incredible cheeses. Not the brie type, but more the conventional, more like the cheddar and cream cheese, and it's fantastic.
Nice.
And they are they're now they're getting it places around the world, including in North America and including Canada. I know here in Vancouver, they are. They've been working with. They're going to be getting into Choices Market here in our community. I don't know about Whole Foods if they're getting into Whole Foods, but certainly our Choices,
great.
which is a more kind of locally family-ish owned chain, and so that's exciting. So She's Cheese, which is cheese with an SHEESE. You might want to check them out.
Yeah.
Because if you go on their website, I'm not sure what the website is. I can let you know if you. I might actually put that on James's thing too, what that website is, because they have a store locator if you go to their website where you can find it.
Great.
I'm so excited that you're doing this, James. And you guys, if you tasted the kind of food that James creates, you'll know that this is gonna. I want you to get that cheese out on the market, James. For all of us.
I will.
Because it's going to be such a game changer. And I know there were a couple, maybe those companies you were talking about, of some artisanal cheeses that were in the Bay Area. I think that Vinette shared with us, and I couldn't believe how good those were.
Yeah.
Those were so delicious.
Yeah. That was Mielco's cheeses that Vinette shared with you. Mielco, the one from the Bay Area, that was what Vinette shared.
Okay, that would be it.
Yeah.
So, well, James, we're going to be needing to kind of shift gears here, but I want to thank you for coming on the show and sharing your goodness. And I hope that all of you listeners have enjoyed today's show. If you or someone you know or any businesses you know would like to advertise their product or service on the show or be a sponsor, let me know. Again, it's a pretty new show, so I haven't had a chance to be out there finding folks, but this is a great venue to be sharing and with a big reach. Also, if any of you want to offer a small or large donation just to support the vision of increasing kindness and sustainability in the world, I welcome that too. On my website, TeresaNicasio.com, there's a simple donate button and such, which is awesome possum. And I want to thank you all for joining me and our wonderful guest, Chef James, today. Be sure to tune in next week when we'll have speech and language therapist turned urban garden revolutionary Jane Gruber back on the show, talking about food safety and food security. These are really hot topics these days, hot and controversial for some. It'll be great to hear about some of the grassroots efforts that are sprouting, literally, around the globe to address the challenges that are before us. So wishing for you an amazing month of love and Family Day today for those of you, as well as Eating Disorders Awareness Month. So until we meet again, I'm Teresa, and this has been the Dr. Teresa Nicasio Show. Have a great week.